Hello. We'll get started here in a few moments, but we found a phone. Somebody's phone. Looks like a blue case with a white heart on the back. It looks like this is the front screen and Psalm 8, 3 and 4. Anybody? Yeah. It notes that Taylor's birthday's on Monday. All right. If this is your phone, come find me, before Convo gets out, or I'm gonna give it to the bookstore after Convo. So if it's yours, come find me, or if you know whose it is, tell them to find me or that it'll be in the bookstore.
Dr. B.
Students who are presenting this morning, if you could make your way over to this section, that would be great. Since the stage is up, you want to have easy access to get up here. All right, good morning and welcome to Convocation. It's wonderful to see all of you here today. We missed you all so very much last Monday. We're going to get started, as we always do, with our announcements for today, and we'll invite Dr. Mimi up first for a special introduction.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning and Happy New Year. First time seeing everyone in the same spot. Listen up. I wanted to take the time this morning to introduce our student mental health and wellness counselor. Give her a round of applause. This is Miss Elizabeth Rempel, and she is going to just say a few words to you all, if that's okay, so you can get to know a little bit better, okay? All right.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here. I just wanted to mention a couple things. I guess the first thing is just to acknowledge that while college is very fun and exciting, it can also be extremely stressful and overwhelming. And so signs that mental health might be affecting your college life are things like not wanting to get up in the morning, dragging yourself through the day, being so overwhelmed you can't focus on your athletics or your classes. So those would all be great reasons to schedule with me. There have been links going out in emails. My office is in the WAC, room 129. There's a QR code outside the office to schedule an appointment. And then the student life email this morning had a link as well where you can schedule with me. So I really look forward to meeting you all, and I'm really glad to be here. Thank you.
Hello again, everybody. My name is Mason Bolin. I'm the editor-in-chief of YOP this year. It's Bethel College Literary Magazine. I'm really excited to announce that we are open to submissions. So if you have poetry, personal essays, visual art, poetry, whatever you guys really want. Send it to yop@bethelks.edu. Or if you have any questions, email Mason J. Bolin at bethelks or Siobhan Scary. Our deadline is March 24th, and we're also going to have some cash prizes coming soon. We're going to have a design contest and a poetry contest. So should be cool. Remember, you can submit art. We're looking for art, okay? And then I will welcome Ava up. This is for Collegian now.
All right, I just wanted to remind you guys quickly that our first edition of the Collegian of the semester will be out this Friday. So be looking for that around campus. Mason and I put a lot of work into making things a little different this semester. But also, if you guys haven't seen our faces up here, for anyone new this semester, Mason and I are the co-editor-in-chief of the Collegian here on campus. So make sure you're following our Instagram. We are trying to get more of student voices into our editions and into some of our articles. So if you follow there, you can engage more with us. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Josiah Bowler, and I'm here with the alumni office today. The show, raise of hands. Who here likes to have some money? Who likes money? Yeah. All right, this is a great opportunity to make some money. Phonathon is starting next week. This is like kind of your last chance to sign up. So, what Phonathon is, you, the students, will call alumni and ask them to donate to Bethel. Alumni, it's a great way to connect with alumni. They love talking with students, seeing what's going on. You get paid $10 an hour. You work 3-hour shifts starting next week for the next 3 weeks. We have different prizes for people who, one, get the most donations, like amount of money, like number of donations. We'll get and then also calls completed. We'll all get $50 gift cards. So if you like to talk to people, it's a good way to make money. You need to apply today, probably at the very latest, on Handshake. It is very easy. All you have to do is literally click apply. There's no steps. You don't have to upload anything. All you have to do is that. And then you will get paid on February 25th. So you can have some money before spring break if you're looking to make a little bit of extra money. So sign up for a Phonathon next few days, and then I'll email you with some more questions once you sign up. Thanks.
I'm here with DivCo. We have an event tonight at 7 p.m. in the WAC. It's a New Year's resolution, and there will be snacks and drinks provided. Please come out and have some fun. Good morning, y'all. How we doing? That is a good answer. That's not HDMI, Karen. That's in fact a USB. Okay. Located. Okay, whatever. We ain't got time for this. So on the SGA website, I have a couple things to show you. Yeah, here we go. So you guys, if you don't remember how to get here, ask me, or just look up Bethel SGA. Go to the Bethel's webpage for it, like the actual Bethel College's webpage for it. Go down to the bottom and you'll find the link. We have a new thing to show you at the bottom of the front page. We have, want to stay up to date with SGA, please press this link. This is our public SGA folder. You want to see what bills and stuff have been passed, go ahead and go there and you can see it. We also have a Senate meeting tomorrow, so if you're interested in what we're passing there, please show up tomorrow morning at 11 in the SGA office. And then we also want to go over the Winter Clothing Fund. This is also on our website under official forms. If I can go ahead and get that. Cool. Down here we have our Winter Clothing Fund, and we also have our Laptop Request Fund. Guys, we have money in there that could be used. If you're cold and you need a jacket, or if you have a busted laptop and need a new one, go ahead and go there and fill it out. Let's get that set up. And that, I believe, is all I have for you. Gracias.
Hello everyone, and also on that website there's something called an ISR fund. This is a fund that we offer to students who are trying to continue or further their education, whether you're doing your senior seminar and you have expenses for that, going to conferences or paying for the travel, or if you're paying for like an MCAT test. All these tests fall under this fund that you can request for, and it's basically a benefit to you students. So the maximum amount that we can give you back is $199. So it's basically free money for continuing your education. So if you are interested in that, you can email me at gavincrogers@BethelKS or reach out to anybody at SGA. Thank you.
Okay, guys, last SGA announcement, I promise. So my name's Taryn Paulino. For those of you who are new, I am your current SGA president. My announcement is about elections. So we will be having our elections in March for exec, and then a few weeks after that for Senate. I will personally not be rerunning this year, so spots will be open and we will have a lot of opportunities. So if you have good ideas, if you want to see some difference from your side, then please reach out. We can talk about it. I can get you on the right path for running and maybe getting elected. So have a great rest of your semester and stay warm. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all of those announcements for us this morning. Lots of things happening in the life of our community. That's great. For this morning, we focus on undergraduate research, internships, and creative activities, specifically on research grants that are available. And to introduce this, please welcome psychology professor Navante Peacock.
Hey everybody, hello and welcome. Thank you for braving the cold to come hear the current Eureka recipients give you a talk to. What this is all going to be about is they're going to tell you their experiences so far with their Eureka grants, what they've done, and you can expect to hear them during Eureka, which is a day, April 16th, later this semester. It's the day that you have the afternoon off for classes. Yes, but to listen to people talk about their research and internships, creative inquiry, and so on. And so while that will be a day where you actually get to hear the actual research being done and other things, today is going to be about why you should apply for these grants because there is money involved and how it can help you further your Bethel experience outside of the classroom. And so with that, we'll introduce the students to give their experiences. Thanks.
So for this morning, we will hear from Annalise Miller, Patty Huerta, Caleb Coons, Miriam Dweeby, Isaiah Smith, and Carissa Wilson. We won't have further introductions for them, so let's have one round of applause now as we welcome Annalise.
Okay, so I'm a biology major, and my topic was on poison ivy. Yes, I did grow poison ivy, and I collected the seeds from the plants. I did not get poison ivy though, so that's good. So I'm looking at how poison ivy responds to differences in soil temperature and moisture, like how will it grow differently? Will it produce different urushiol? Urushiol is the stuff that makes it itchy. So I grew some poison ivy last semester, and then I killed it over break. And then I'm going to do a urushiol analysis with Will in the chemistry department. And then I also took the mass of the plants to see if there's a difference in the treatment groups. So I chose this topic because I like plants, and I was thinking about maybe doing something with like plant toxins. And then poison ivy is easily accessible. I wouldn't have to order in like any seeds from anywhere. I could just go out and get some. So for this project, I knew that I was going to need a soil sensor that I could test the soil moisture and temperature with, but the biology department didn't have one. So buying one was going to be kind of expensive. So that's why I applied for Eureka, because I knew that I was going to have to buy that, and also heat mats and pots for my plants and stuff like that. So I used most of my Eureka money to split the cost of a good soil sensor with the biology department. So now they have one, and if you want to use it for future projects, it's there. From my process so far, I have learned that your materials and methods are there for a reason. It seems like your process is going to be pretty straightforward a lot of the time, but then you realize that, oh, I actually need to know what temperature and how long and all of that stuff, and like the little details that you actually need to like have written down. I also learned that trial runs for your project are probably a good idea. I did not do one for mine, and about a week into growing my plants, I realized that one of the spots that I set them both on the same table in the sunroom, or in the greenhouse. And one spot on the table was warmer than the other. And so that would like kind of mess with my plants for a little bit. But I switched them around, it all worked out. Any advice to applicants that I would give? I would say that if this is a great opportunity, especially if you have a project that you know is going to be kind of intensive, or that you're going to need special equipment for, because that can get expensive, or like you could even pay yourself for your time if it's going to take like a lot of time and like not make you able to do other things. When you're applying, I would recommend having a list of approximate costs and all of the things that you're going to need, and also see what your department has already, and then put it all together and see like, okay, how much is this actually going to cost? And finally, I would say just like, why not? I mean, it's not going to like hurt you to apply, even if you don't get it. It's, if nothing else, it's a great experience at applying for something. So that's my experience with the Eureka grant. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Patty, and I'm a natural science major, and I'm on the tennis team. Okay, so the topic of my research project is susceptibility of Streptococcus mutans and Lactobacillus acidophilus to essential oil rinses. And basically what I did was see how these 3 oil rinses can kill like these 2 bacteria that grow in your mouth when you have cavities. The way I came to decide on my research topic was that I want to go to dental school, and I'm really interested in cell biology and microbes in like the sciences, and I wanted to see how I could like mesh the 2. So I applied for Eureka because I conducted my research over the summer, and due to not having incubator space during the fall semester, and also during the summers when like I work, and that's how I get money to pay for school. And so the Eureka helped cover certain costs in that aspect. And also another major aspect was that it has helped with like paying for research materials, because growth medium can be very expensive. I'd say that my project hasn't evolved much since when I first thought of it. I did end up excluding chlorhexidine, which is like an active ingredient in commercial oral rinses. And I just wanted to focus more on essential oral rinses because they're less researched on. I have learned a lot from this experience. I learned how to like hold the reins on my own project. I learned that there is a lot of trial and error. It is also time consuming but very rewarding at the same time. I also learned that it's very important to label things in the lab. I did a trial run before I started like my full experiment, and I accidentally forgot to label some tubes. So I spent a lot of time backtracking, trying to figure out what was in those tubes. And I figured it out, which was pretty nice. Advice I would give to you guys is start early and get the application ready. And also double check that you have everything in order before you submit, and make sure you submit everything before the due date. And even if you're sure you submitted it, check again to make sure everything's good to go. Another piece of advice I want to give is that if you're hesitant or unsure about applying, just go for it. Like Annalise mentioned, like it's not going to hurt you in any other way. And also you might not know like unexpected expenses that might arise. Like for example, I knew that growth medium was expensive, but when I went back to go check like our storage stuff, I didn't have enough. So I had to like order some more, and that was like extra costs I had to do. So yeah, that's it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Caleb Kuntz. I am a biochemistry major with a minor in music, and I am on the golf team. My Eureka project is focused on the detection of pesticides in fruits and vegetables. I started my project looking for a particular pesticide called chlorpyrifos. This was of particular interest because it has been shown to have numerous negative effects on humans, even at low concentrations, and the legislation behind it is a little confusing since it was banned in 2021 and then they allowed it to come back in 2023, so that's pretty awesome for us. I applied for the Eureka grant because I knew some of the materials I need would be pretty costly, especially like the standard for the pesticide which I would use, and as well as the high quality helium gas needed for the gas chromatography, nice, mass spectrometer. So I recently scanned all my samples from apples, lemons, asparagus, soybeans, and strawberries. And luckily I haven't found any signs of chlorpyrifos yet, so that's good. However, I did find another potentially harmful pesticide called pyrimethamine. So sorry about that. Curveballs like this are kind of what you have to expect as you go throughout the research process, and you just have to be ready to shift your focus accordingly. So I will be shifting my focus from chlorpyrifos to most likely this other pesticide as well as pesticides in general. For anyone considering or even not considering applying for the Eureka grant, you might as well just go for it. It's free money. You have to do a senior project anyways, so why not get some money for it to help you out? And similar to others, it helped me pay for other expenses. I'm applying for medical school, and so that went to a lot of the costs and expenses for that. You just have to submit a brief proposal in order to get this money, and if you want any help with that, you can reach out to me. Again, my name is Caleb Kuntz, and I'm sure everybody else will be willing to help. And again, you have to do a project anyways, might as well get money for it. Thank you.
Yes, okay, hello. My experience was a little different with the Eureka because I also got another grant called the REACH, and I worked on 2 different research projects in my summer. Is it, okay. Oh no. I coded this presentation, so it's a little janky, but basically I was emailing back and forth with this professor from James Madison University, and I ended up going there in the summer. I didn't really have anything planned, so I just went and I worked in his department, in the department of James U's math and the statistics department, and initially I was planning on working on the 2 different projects, and so it was going to be more like at night I would work on my exoplanet research, my astronomy research, and then in the morning it'd be math. That was quickly realized it's very unsustainable because you're going to bed at 4 and waking up at 8 to do this every night, and so I kind of just focused on my math project and decided to finish the rest while I'm here at Bethel. And so the math research that I got to do at JMU was on debris flow, and so we collected a bunch of different data from different counties in Virginia, and then we were able to, it was in 3 different regions, and then we used something called logistic regression, which is a machine learning tool to basically predict like what statistical aspect kind of would predict most of the debris flow and landslides in Virginia. And so you end up learning a lot when you're working on these different projects, especially when you're around really, really smart people. This was part of an REU, and so it's just kind of around a lot of really cool people the whole summer. And then I also got to go to DC 2 weeks ago to present my research at the biggest math conference in the world. So that was also pretty cool. It's good to meet a lot of really interesting people.
the Eureka grant aspect, I kind of had, I used a lot of the money in Virginia because obviously you have to fly there and then live there. But here I am working up in the observatory on exoplanet research, and so we are using the telescope to, it's usually it takes a long time, about 4 to 5 hours every night to be up in the observatory collecting data, and then we use that data we use machine learning tools on that data to predict, to detect exoplanets. And there's a bunch of different words that are hard, and so it's just things. Yes. That's the telescope up in the observatory. And I think that both the projects ended up being really helpful in the fact that I wanted to pursue a PhD in applied math, and so they're both kind of in the realm of that. Both equally hard because you're just kind of, it's very time consuming, and then you are presenting this research at bigger conferences where people ask you a lot of technical questions, and so you have to know every single aspect of everything that you're doing. Yes, thank you, and thank you.
Howdy, howdy. My name's Isaiah. I am currently a senior, and I am majoring in history and poli-sci and social work. So this is my social work research project. I am doing it over, unlike all this other science stuff, I don't have to do all that, thank God. But what I had to do is interview. So my research topic is what influences, if any, do queer Mennonite pastors have on queer Christians' involvement in faith practices? So originally, my inspiration came when I was looking online and whatnot, and I was seeing a bunch of these just purely queer Christian churches, including from pastoral all the way down to congregants. And I thought these were like, whoa, this is super cool. And so I started doing more research on it, and very quickly I started to find out that there's a stigma between being LGBTQ+ and identifying as LGBTQ+, and also being Christian. And so there was like a plethora of literature about the negative impacts it has on certain denominations, including the Mennonite, and just in general. And so I was like, yo, where's the happy part of this? Like, it doesn't just suck being queer and Christian, that's not all it is. And there's very few about that. And more specifically, there's very few knowledge out there like describing the exact impacts that queer pastors make on their queer congregants. And so that was kind of my inspiration. I decided to apply for Eureka, honestly, because I wanted to make this a quality project. So having a grant that forced me to work on it over the summer and in both semesters would help me, and it has. Not only that, but I've used my grant for not just everyday, daily things, which I did, but also like things like Zoom membership premium, having a Zoom premium membership, or Otter AI so I can transcribe easier. Just subscriptions like that, and little things on the way. The Eureka grant has helped a lot, and it's honestly helped me justify spending money on research, because like a lot of y'all, I don't like buying my books or anything. So, yeah, so this topic, originally I was going to do 10 interviews for 10 queer Mennonite pastors and 10 queer Christian congregants with Mennonite pastors. That has changed a lot. It hit me very quickly that that is unrealistic, especially for a full-time double major student. And so I'm just focusing on interviewing queer Mennonite pastors right now. I actually have all of the interviews done. I've de-identified a couple of them and transcribed all of them. So now it's just a matter of finishing de-identifying them and analyzing and putting things together, which is where my results will come from. Awesome picture. What else? Oh, and so also to narrow this down, because queer Mennonite pastors, there are a lot of different denominations groups of Mennonites. And so I'm focusing on MCUSA, which is, at least in my research, one of the more progressive groups, and one of the groups that have just recently, like 2 or 3 years ago, formally repented against how they treated queer people. So some of I actually like this research project doesn't have that many challenges so far, thank God. There was like a big opportunity and blessing that I was able to go to. I was able to travel to Philadelphia last semester and go to this conference called Fabulous, Fierce, and Sacred. In essence, it was like near 80 queer Mennonite pastors or just queer Christians in the Mennonite space coming together and celebrating the joy of being queer and being Christian. And so it was a great experience, and that experience has helped me be in contact with several different Mennonite queer pastors. All of the ones I've interviewed, or 6 out of the 8 I've interviewed, have came from that conference, and then the other 2 have came from different references from the other queer Mennonite pastors that I've interviewed. The biggest challenge, honestly, is just mentally, and I feel like anyone who does a research project does this, where you're full head steaming, you're ready to go, and then it's you get to that point where it's you kind of get fatigued over the same topic. And so, completely honest, that's the hardest part, in my opinion, is making sure that I'm keep going and that I'm accountable and doing all my deadlines on time. But yeah, and it's also I've done several other research projects before, none to this scale, and it takes so much time, and a lot of it is tedious work too. But for those who want to apply for the Eureka grant, obviously, yeah, just apply, you never know, like the others were saying. But make sure that your topic or thesis that you're wanting to do is specific to your field and is either adding something or adding onto something that's already existing or something that's unique that if you look at your average Joe, they're not going to do. But yeah, thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Carissa Wilson, and I am a junior chemistry major here at Bethel. I'm also on the tennis team. And my research topic is detection of thallium in menstrual products. I decided to choose this topic after seeing a study done by researchers at Columbia and Berkeley, analyzing tampons for the presence of toxic metals and metalloids. Chances are that some of you have heard of this study because it did go viral because it had some pretty shocking results. They determined the presence of lead, arsenic, mercury, and other toxic substances in almost every single tampon brand tested. Yikes. Upon further research, it occurred to me that this was the only study of its kind. Despite the widespread use of menstrual health products, very little research has actually been done to analyze their safety. Upon further literature searches, I was struck by the fact that thallium, an element with well-documented toxicity and adverse effects on reproductive systems, has not been investigated in menstrual products. As infertility rates in women continue to go up without a clearly defined cause, it's more important than ever that menstrual products be examined for toxins. Understanding potential exposure risks is crucial for public safety and consumer safety. This gap in knowledge, combined with an interest in women's health and analytical chemistry, made the project feel scientifically important and personally meaningful, which is how I decided that this is the topic I would investigate. So I decided to apply for the Eureka grant because without this external funding, this project would not have been possible. The lamp I needed to quantify thallium on the instrument we have here at Bethel College costs upwards of $500, and this isn't even considering the money needed for necessary chemicals, standards, and the tampons actually needed for experimentation. So the Eureka funds have enabled every step of my project. They covered the purchase of the thallium lamp, which again is an essential part for generating accurate measurements. Without this funding, I would not have been able to develop a reliable method. My project has evolved significantly since my research began. After developing the initial idea, it became clear to me that I was going to have to adapt the methodology quite a bit because the methodology used in previous literature was quite costly and involves an instrument that no institution in Kansas, no university, even has access to. So collaborating wasn't even an option. So to adapt the methodology, I went back to the literature, searched the textbooks, and obviously online, and found multiple options that seemed plausible. So to confirm the best option, I tested the methods experimentally and refined the procedure until I found the method that best balanced feasibility with accuracy and precision.
However, like any research projects, of course, this one has definitely had its ups and downs. One of the most unexpected difficulties encountered was that the gas required to operate our instrument has been backordered now for several months. This fairly significant delay has definitely been frustrating and has halted my ability to collect data and has forced me to rethink my timeline altogether. However, I use this downtime to deepen my literature review and to make progress on my written thesis. Although the delay has definitely been frustrating, it has ultimately strengthened my project. It pushed me to be more intentional in my preparation. This project taught me that research is a lot of things, but it is definitely not linear. However, through the many ups and downs, which were definitely discouraging, this forced me to look at the bigger picture. These downs taught me how to problem solve, which is the aspect of this project which has by far taught me the most. I had to learn how to approach problems from multiple angles instead of the straightforward one, which seems the most obvious. Being able to conduct research and to problem solve in real time has allowed me to use the knowledge gained in my chemistry classes in a meaningful real-world context, which has strengthened my understanding of the subject far beyond anything that could happen in the classroom alone. To anyone thinking about applying for this grant, I would suggest starting your proposal early and taking the time to craft a thoughtful, well-supported application. This process pushes you to think carefully and deeply about your project, why it matters to you and others, how you'll approach it, and how it will advance the field you're in. It also forces you to think about the resources you'll need and the costs. The planning will not only strengthen your proposal, but it also sets you up for a more successful project in general. This grant changed every aspect of my project, and it could yours too. So for these reasons, I would highly recommend pursuing the Eureka grant. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for each of those presentations. We do have some time for questions, so Eureka presenters, if you would come back up, you will be available to field questions from the audience. So we have a couple of mics ready to go. And you can direct your question at any one researcher or at all of them together. So raise your hand if you have a question, please.
This is for Isaiah. I feel like it would be, or I'm curious how you went about finding your participants. Like, where's the knowledge of, like how do you find queer Mennonite pastors and in abundance?
Yeah, great question. That's why I was like, Fabulous, Fierce, and Sacred was a shock because I was like, are there even queer Mennonite pastors out there? So there's one pastor who is straight, who's been helping me a lot. Like initially, he went to Fabulous, Fierce, and Sacred with me. But it's actually when I went there and I started like listening to other people around, because like I said, there's near 80 people, and most of them are queer Mennonite pastors. It was surprisingly pretty easy. But yeah, that's definitely how.
My question is for Carissa. Are you testing multiple brands of products, or are you focusing on one specific brand? That is a good question. I am planning on testing 7 brands. The most popular, 2 organic, Elle and Cora, and just the most popular, Tampax, Playtex, U by Kotex, the ones that people are more likely to get, as well as some generic, so multiple.
this is my question's for you too, Carissa. But infertility rates going down, that's not a secret. Like, that's a very common issue across all America. And with your point of how, like, there's toxins and metals and things that shouldn't be in these products, do you think, like, I know that there's a lot of toxicity and things that shouldn't be in our products throughout all across America, like food and pretty much everything. Do you think with your study, do you think you can shed some light, like just how like that other study kind of went trending and shed some light on the harmfulness of certain products? Do you think your study could kind of help like shed light on that too?
Yeah, I think that's certainly the goal, is that for people here at Bethel who are using these products, that they know the dangers that may be associated with them. And so that is the goal, to increase exposure and awareness to this issue. I seriously doubt my study will have the same internet effect, but more than anything, it's just important that people know about these issues and are aware of them. And so any study that's being done to any aspect is increasing awareness, which is really good.
Krista, I have your next question. Why do you think there's such a lack of research for women anyways, especially in this field, since we're so prevalent in our population?
I think that comes down to a lot of things. I think lack of representation in the field, that there aren't as many women in the field doing research. And so, yeah, I also think lack of funding. Women's health research has taken a huge hit to funding lately, not proportional to every other kind of research. And the female anatomy is just more complicated. So I think a lot of researchers tend to stray away from it in that aspect because of simplicity. And so I think there's a lot of factors there.
While folks are thinking of questions, could you each say a little bit about what do you do when you run into a snag in your research or an unexpected roadblock? Who did you find yourself turning to, or did you just try to figure it out all on your own? So that's a question for each of you.
Okay, I had a lot of snags in my research, and my go-to person was Dr. Will Wiebe-Friesen in the chemistry department. I would go to him, have a quick crash out, and then he would let me freak out, and then he would tell me that everything's fine, and then we would problem solve together. But yeah, so he helped me through a lot.
One snag that I hit was that when we got the sensor, it comes with different sizes of probes, and the probes that we got were not the right size to fit in my pots. So we had to get a different set of probes. So that was a question for Jean, and that was not a big issue to fix. But yeah, talk to your professors.
So for me, it really took a while to like construct my a methodology, like what I was gonna do. And so Jean Woods and I would just like talk it through, and she was my go-to person. We struggled a little bit just because she's not really a cell microbes person, but we worked it out and eventually got there in the end.
I had a really good community in Harrisonburg, Virginia. My mentor, Dr. Hassan Hamdan, was very good at his job. He has been a math professor for years and years, and so it was just really easy to just get stuff figured out with him. There were also a lot of people just in the department in general. Like, I would get there at, I treated it like a 9 to 5, and so I'd go at 9, and there would be a bunch of people just kind of in this huge room, seminar room, to help you with anything. I'd call Dwight Crable basically every day and crash out again, because you just end up like, a lot of math research is just kind of doing something for a month and then it's all wrong and you can't do anything about it because it's like a 0.0 percentage problem. And so you just kind of have to adapt and take it easy. It's all good. Just try again.
Yeah, like I said, not too many have came up. It's more just like logistical questions and like time frame questions. But I always go to, and this is another advice, always go to your advisor. They're there for a reason, and you have one for a reason. So I always go to my advisor, Dr. Jennifer Chappell-Deckert, and she's helped a lot, even if it's just like little validating things. So that's how I get that.
Yeah, one of the bigger snags I had was homogenizing my samples. I was supposed to be using a blender to just blend them up and make this nice smoothie of vegetable. But the blades weren't sharp enough, so I had to use a lot of brain power to switch to a knife and then like grind it up myself. So that was probably the biggest snag I've had so far. But other than that, shout out Will Weeby Friesen helping me out.
Okay, my question is for Miriam. Was your favorite project the math one or the astrology one?
That's a great question. They're both very different. I think with the astronomy one, it's a lot of math as well, but it's just way more time consuming. Like, I have to be in the observatory really, really, really late at night. And so that part is not very enjoyable. I like the math one more just because it's a lot of like coding, and you just kind of, if you know the statistical frameworks, it's just very easy. Like, you just sit down on the computer for hours and just kind of figure it out. Machine learning is also a lot of fun to play with. So I'd say that one is my favorite. But yes, I would encourage people to apply for the Eureka grant, because even if you don't have like a specific, like really, really specific interest, you can kind of find that out with the project. It's just money that helps you figure out what you want to do after college. And so it was really enlightening for me to do these two different projects.
So Miriam, your project here at Bethel is looking at, yes, you. Okay. Your project here at Bethel is looking at exoplanets, right?
Yes.
And your slide said that you could see exoplanets, identify them by looking at the light from the stars, and when it dims, you tell their orbits and tell that they were there. So how does machine learning play into that?
How does machine learning? Yes, that's a beautiful question. Thank you, Marcus. So the transit method is a method that has been around for not very long, since the 1920s. And so there's lots of faults with it. So machine learning is basically used in this project to fine-tune this method. So we collect a bunch of different light curves, and that's a way for us to find out if they're an exoplanet or not. An exoplanet is a planet outside our solar system. And so with those tools, like for example, logistic regression or random forest or whatever, that helps us to get all of that data and be able to say, okay, like this is a little faulty because our training set has this problem in it versus our test set doesn't have this fault in it. And so it's just kind of like a way to be able to measure the different problems with the different data sets that we have. Does that answer? Yes.
All right, I got a question for the golfer, Mr. Kuntz. What veggies and like fruits are you testing, and like how have you seen like results like differ like between fruits and veggies?
Okay, well, I said it while I was talking earlier, Josiah.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure if there was more, so if that's all of them.
No, that's all of them
that.
so far.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
What the differences are, if you found any?
Apples were the one with the pyramid on them, so those are the only like significant ones so far. But we're gonna do more tests with my samples. So.
Thank you. Of course.
I also have a question for the big, beautiful Caleb Kuntz. You're a very active member on campus, and you're at a lot of events. You're in SGA, all that good stuff. How do you balance your work in this with all your other things, such as being the greatest golfer to ever live and other things like that?
Not true. That is a pretty good question. I didn't think I'd be getting a question like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think one key is definitely getting enough sleep. That's probably a big one for me. I'd like to say I try to stay as organized as possible, but that really isn't how it feels. Just kind of
tumble throughout the day. Try to think about what good you can do for your community, how you can leave a lasting positive impact, and just keep that at the back of your mind no matter what you do. So,
Thank you.
Let's conclude by hearing others' responses to that same question. I'd be interested in hearing from the rest of the panel. Time management. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, not gonna lie, that's probably like, I'm so bad at time management. And so a lot of it is just like, wait, Isaiah, you're getting paid. Like, I have to tell myself, you're getting paid for this, you gotta do it, and you have like until April to do this. So while it might seem far away, you gotta just go ahead and do it. I don't know, there's really no good advice besides just like how people procrastinate. And I mean, like, it's just like, oh shoot, I've gotta get this done, and just sit down and for a couple hours and do whatever you need to do. Besides that, I'm not sure. Just take care of yourself.
Passion. If you like what you're doing, a lot of the time, like, it's just easy to find the time to do it. Or just don't sleep. A lot of the time, that is part of it. It's just unfortunate. But you don't, there aren't nearly enough hours in the day to complete 2 different research projects, or 1, or however many. And so it's just a lot of sacrifices. Like, I was in Virginia, which was beautiful, and so I wanted to hang out with my best friends in the world that happened to be there. And so I would just do my work, hang out with friends, and not sleep and do my work.
For me, I feel like it was like relatively kind of easy because I conducted my research over the summer. The only like time-consuming part was like trying to figure out like to block out a couple of weeks in like my work schedule so I could like so they could find other people to like fill in my spot, and like I didn't have to worry too much about work because I'm a worrier and I feel bad like leaving other people in the dust like at work. So yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with Miriam that like passion, doing my experiments, it wasn't hard to like find time to do it because I loved it so much, but the writing, that took me some serious focus. And so I had to like plan out certain times, just a little bit each day to just get a little bit more done. If I sat down and tried to do that all in one go, I think I would go crazy. So I tried to do that little bit by little bit, just every single day, and that made it seem less daunting. And I also did bribe myself with lattes, so that helped.
For me, I kind of, like Patty, like